Okay, good afternoon, Louis. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So for everyone joining us, I just want to give you a bit of background on Louis. So his professional background is he's previously worked in telecommunications, real estate, and office furniture. He's currently part of two companies, Bix Office Furniture and Kopano Office Furniture, which both have different business models and target markets. He loves to see people grow and thrive, and including as many people as he can into his journey. He's always got his ear out for opportunities for himself and others. So welcome, Louis. It's good to have you with me this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
So I wanted to ask you, I'm busy talking to some business owners about how COVID has impacted their businesses. So maybe you can just give me some insight on how your business was before COVID.
Okay. So thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it. It's nice to be here today. It was actually interesting when we started 2020 with a lot of goals for the year, and we started seeing inquiries coming in. We started seeing a part of the market which we missed, I would say, for a while, to see them coming alive. And I was so excited, and we could actually see a lot of momentum growing. Apart from our existing clients from the past few years, there were a lot of new clients, approaching us. You have your middle to upper market clients responding quite well. And before COVID, I would say even in that month or two just before, we had huge projects that we were planning in the planning phases, both in Cape Town and in Johannesburg. So I think it caught us really unaware, because we really believed that 2020 was going to be an amazing year, a year of growth, and we could really see it. So up until March, we had great momentum going, I must be honest.
And during COVID, how did your business adapt during COVID?
So the adapting was basically to first get over the shock and to realize that we are not the only people in this situation, and it might be affecting us a little bit more, a little bit less, but it did give us a bit of time to, where normally if you're busy with a big project, or you're busy working on a sale, or busy with your clients or the people that you normally work with, normally you tend to focus on that, and there's not a lot of, we'll call it introspection, and there might not be a lot of strategic planning or planning for the future, or to really realize how the market is changing. And sometimes every few years, as the trends change, you might be caught, with your back against the wall, realizing that the market has changed and you might not have stayed up to it. So this gave us enough time to sort of see, how we can do things differently, which we now had to do. What happened in our industry was, where you'd have a big percentage of our existing clients, which we always have and very thankful for, who've supported us over the years. And then a smaller percentage are your new clients that you build up, and all of a sudden those new clients were not there anymore. You can be posting Facebook ads, working Google ads on your website, sending out newsletters, trying to, in your own strength and in your own efforts, to be diligent in this time to don't tell, I had to tell myself, this is not a holiday, so you still get up early in the morning, still spend the time, still sit there and see exactly who you can connect with. So how it changed for us was we had no more new clients coming in. We had the newer clients were putting projects on hold because they don't have that relationship. I don't necessarily, although I don't sell, I consult, and we're rendering a service. We assist clients, in their space. When now, it's a little bit more difficult to sell yourself, to sell that relationship. So what happened was that we were literally having a complete downtime. So our factories had to close, obviously. And then we had a few of our clients who has the longer term projects coming up. Those people we could now spend a little bit more time with, helping clients budget. And then there were clients who are thinking of something even in a year's time from now, So I could actually invest that time to say, look, it's okay if I'm going to sit for 2 weeks on, on your plans for your new offices, working on different proposals, helping you budget for it, because although we have to still earn, and we have to still do projects to earn an income, I could then put that time apart, which I wouldn't normally have been able to do, to say, it's okay if I don't earn, or if I don't make any sales in 2 weeks. So I'm not going to chase the sale. I'm going to see where I can assist clients, especially with budgeting, those who want to maybe scale down. But believe it or not, there are still clients and there are still companies who grow. And it's actually so impressive if we speak to someone and we can see that their industry is thriving. And I get so excited with that. It actually, it sort of, it builds you up to know that there are businesses that's doing well and thriving. But what's nice in that time is I could give some free time. I could work, I could help them plan and budget, even though I knew that the project is not imminent. We worked on a project which is a larger scale in the northern suburbs, Durbanville area. And they made it very clear that, it might only happen in December, January, February next year, depending on now how the market and obviously how the pandemic changes. So basically that is how it changed. We had no sales because we couldn't dispatch. What I'm thankful for is that we had a few projects that we already had booked. And we had, obviously those clients were patient because they understood, that they had to wait for it. But what was nice is that we had a few clients who actually, they're doing essential services. It happened that the first 2 projects that I was working on just before and during the initial lockdown, that they were both essential services. So I could work on it, we just couldn't dispatch. But I literally had, I think that gave us a little bit more time to see, what can you do differently? Time is now becoming quite valuable, because when we start trading again, you really have to make sure that you focus on the wrong things, or on the right things, and not on the wrong. So it was an interesting time, but a lot of it was spent to say, where a lot of people could be tempted to plan short term. How are they going to get through the month, or through next month? How are we going to get through this pandemic? Could give myself a little bit of time to see, okay, but where's this company going to go? Where's our industry going to go? How can I help different sectors of the industry? Your entry level, your budget levels, your middle market who normally moves fast, and then your middle upper markets, and then there's the emerging markets, especially in the northern suburbs, who used to go for conventional furniture, they now go for slightly more upper market furniture. So it was now getting in touch with the trends, and to make sure that that you listen, very well, to make sure that I understand the needs of the clients. But a big part of it was budgeting and planning, I must be honest, because I couldn't physically spend time on selling, but that it also I think showed me that now more than ever, we're not here just to sell something. There's a lot of different circumstances. A lot of companies are struggling. Some companies are thriving, but everyone is in a phase where they have to make big decisions, and the furniture and the inside of the offices and the dynamic in the offices and how the layout is done, and are you going to have half the staff complement? Is everyone still supposed to be there? Is there going to be 3 people in a huge 200 square office? So all these things we had to take into account, and we had to make sure that we listen to our clients and to their needs, because whether they have to buy new furniture because they now have to use different, they have to put everyone further apart. You're converting canteens to office areas. We now had to help them to strategize, and all of a sudden we pulled into this process where we're walking this journey with them to see how they can make their office space work. Let's say, for instance, someone is in a 3-year lease, they have to make work, they have to make this work. So in some cases, it's scaling down, helping those working from home. Other offices, you have clients who actually have to buy more furniture because they have to now keep space open between all the employees. So there's a lot of different dynamics, but a lot of it is planning, advising, and budgeting with our clients.
Awesome, thank you. And where do you see your business going when it's after COVID, or let's just say we don't know when COVID's going to end, but let's just say
Yes.
in the next 6 months to a year, where do you see you were talking about the trends, where do you see the trends
Yeah.
going?
I think the thing is, I can see that I can see a big trend in terms of your stronger corporates, you know, who are still looking for to expand their companies, who are still taking up bigger space. Your banks, your big insurance companies, IT companies, those companies are still thriving. And you know, in this process, we mustn't forget that there's still government. There's still, you know, there's still some of the government institutions who do still inquire from us, and we're very thankful for that. Um, so what I'm seeing is that we have to have a different solution for each part of the market. We have to make sure that if there's someone who's on a tight budget, that we give them enough options and not try to just chase a sale, because a lot of people, it might be their first office. They might now be changing from everyone's working from home to, okay, now we have to take a small office again. And then we have to make sure that we've got a solution that is functional and affordable, but still where we give them the same journey, because it's still, for them, this is still still a big expense, because they're now taking on a lease. They are, and they have to now accommodate their staff. So we have to make sure that for the entry-level market, or for those who now return to work to a smaller office, that we have something in store for different budgets, for different industries, and also to make sure that it's still going to be safe, because even though we might be on the other side of, let's say, a lockdown or the pandemic, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the safety elements that we have in offices, it's still going to, it's going to continue from there on. For the middle market, and let's say your conventional fast-moving market, that's the interesting part, because that's the part that I can't quite pinpoint just yet, because I think the middle market is going to move to the one side to the other side. You've got your growing companies, which I've seen a few of them in the past month or two, and I'm so excited about it. So you've got a big chunk of the market moving from that middle market to the upper market, because they've evolved with the times, they've adapted, and they've found maybe also had a bit of time to think, to rebrand, to refresh and reboot, and now they are, they might be thriving. So there's a bit of a middle market that's now moving into the upper space, and then there's part of the middle market that's now they have to make a lot of plans. So I also have to make sure that we have a solution for the middle market, because they're essentially ones that's going to be torn either to the one side to the other side. And then the upper market is basically where we work more with our architects and interior designers, where we basically help them to manage the manufacturing of the furniture, and also to see, because there's a lot of clients that might not be rebranding. You might have companies who might be starting a subsidiary, because they found that they've now got a niche product out of what they normally do, and they might start a smaller company like that. So what I'm seeing is there's going to be a lot of planning involved. There's going to be a lot of listening involved, and we really have to meet our clients where they are, and to accommodate for different kinds of budgets, different circumstances, different visions, returning to work or making do with a smaller staff complement, staying there, and then seeing how that works. A big part of my business is I'm seeing a lot of our neighboring African countries who are approaching us for furniture, and I think that is something which is quite interesting. That let's say Malawi, even Zimbabwe, but Angola, especially Mozambique, Namibia as well, but especially Malawi, Angola, and Mozambique. Those countries are really, contacting South African suppliers to furnish. So we're seeing some interesting changes, but there's a lot of it is also, I can be as planned as I possibly could, but you also have to see which part of the market is going to respond.
Yeah.
But I think that what I'm telling myself is that we're going to be meeting clients exactly where they are. Make sure that, you know, your service, the offering from the different factories, having a solution for someone who has to have something in 2 or 3 days, they need to move in, you know, it has to be ready to someone else who might have a bigger budget, but you have to make space work absolutely to the T, because, you know, every square meter is worth a lot. And then you have, as I said, the middle market, where we're going to have to help them, you know, make things work if they're unsure.
Yeah.
And I think we have to make ourselves available. If you're in a sphere where you work with sometimes big volumes, and sometimes big expenses, we have to make yourself available to, you know, to not pull an eye if someone says, listen, this is our budget, this is the plan, or we have so many people returning, this is our space, and you have to make it work. But in a way, I'm optimistic, because I think it's going to be interesting to see how the market evolves. I can already see our trends in the designs of the furniture evolving. A lot of people are moving away from your conventional office look. They're looking for something a little bit more homey, maybe because some people are working from home. But I can see that there's that desire to connect and to collaborate. And I think for those who kind of, you know, it's not that it has to be expensive, but for those in the upper market, a lot of those clients are going for something that is out of the ordinary. And I think maybe it's just this deep desire of, you know, when people return to work and you spend so much time there, that the space has to work for you. What you're experiencing there, it has to work. And to realize that there are people with very difficult living circumstances, especially financially, maybe in the area where they're in, and the working environment has to be optimal. And it has to be a place where everyone wants to go.
Yeah. What
So
I've seen is there's some workspaces that have little huddles of
yes,
desks, or not even desks, but sometimes meeting tables, meeting seats, where it's not like you have your desk and that this is your workstation. It's more open, where people can get together and
yes,
get around and have a meeting or a huddle. But obviously now with COVID, we have to make it like COVID compliant and
yes,
put the screens in the space. But obviously I've seen that that's more where some of the office spaces have gone,
yes.
more
Yeah,
interactive.
exactly. I mean, anywhere can be office. I'm seeing people converting canteens to office space. I mean, who doesn't want to work into a really nice, trendy canteen? It doesn't have to break the budget, but you know, you have standing tables, you've got some bar stools, you know, you've got your coffee machine on the side, you have a few screens there, everyone can still chat and work and have a good time within limits at the, you know, what is allowed in the environment. But yeah, I can see that collaboration, and I think people have this desire for connection. A lot of people, you know, struggled, especially on the emotional part. So when they return to work, and those ones who are, you know, returning to work, number one, it has to be conducive to productivity and to, you know, sort of, this is where I'm okay to spend my day. And then also, if you're used to having 50 people at work and now there's 5 or 10 left, you want to make sure that you create a very nice environment for them. And as I said, you know, budget-wise, it doesn't have to be the most expensive. There's a lot of things that you can do, even repurposing some of the furniture that you have, or the spaces that you have. Anywhere can be you know, a viable office space. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see, you know, how our clients are also being quite creative. You know, there's a lot of interesting ideas coming. And it's just nice to be, you know, the moment, you know, a client approach you and you can see you're working with someone with a bit of future vision. Something that I can see, which is quite exciting, is that the employees, you know, it's the absolute first thing that they think of. They're not talking about productivity. They're not talking about, you know, profits, or if they're doing well or not, if they're not doing well. The safety is important, and also that it has to be a space where the employees want to be. And I'm excited about that. And I'm also excited to see, as the markets change and as some people return to work and some might be working from home, to see how the trends are going to be changing. But that is also why it's important to stay in contact with the designers and with architects and those who are working on it, and then also your project managers and developments and developers, to see exactly what are people asking for. And it's nice to be, but it's still it's a nice, it's challenging in a way that we can't see everyone face to face all the time, but it's nice in a way to see how things change and how people think. We are forced to think and not just accept that this is what I do every day. So there's not a lot of routine things being done, I must be honest. But it's also interesting to see a lot of people are stepping up, and people in companies are stepping up, and and it's nice when normally each one is for himself or watching the clock for 5 o'clock kind of thing. People are a lot more, they're valuing those people that they work with, and you also value everyone's safety and their well-being, and that is actually something which I think is great.
Mm-hmm. So where can people find you?
Right. So, okay, we've got a website, Kopano, www.kopanooffice.co.za. We also have a Facebook page, which is really easy to find. I'm based in Gordons Bay, but we've got a business partner in Johannesburg, and then we've got factories in Durban, in Harry Smith, in Johannesburg, in Cape Town, and there's even a smaller one in George, if there's anyone maybe living on the coast. And then if you'd like to send me a WhatsApp or a phone call, my number is, should I say, 083-950-7056, or just sales@kopanooffice.co.za.
Okay, awesome. Louis, thank you so much for your time. It was great to have a chat with you this afternoon, and I wish you all the success in your business. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it.